Good evening. Welcome to the Reloading Podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Mike, along with Jason and Jim. And tonight we're going to talk about a couple of different things. But first, as we always start off with, let's start off with what we did in firearms and reloading this week. Well, I did a little more playing around with brass. I also did a little quick video on the Lee powder dippers towards the end of last week and the beginning of this week because I had done the original video on my video camera and that went to kaput. So I redid it on the webcam, so that's why the episode got out real late last week, so I apologize for all that. But I kind of did a little more playing around with the Lemmy Shine mix. I've got a video I'm working on for that. That'll get put out on YouTube and then released as an extra podcast at some point in time. So just kind of playing around with different mixtures of Lemmy Shine, seeing how it works, how many times it takes to get to the same stage, and kind of doing all that. Like I said, eventually I'll release that as a video and a podcast, but that's kind of be a while yet. Jason, what'd you do this week?
I prepped brass, trimmed, cleaned, prepped, 6.8 brass. I did about, close to 2,000 pieces, I suppose.
Nice. Jim, what'd you do?
Jason, what's that 6.8 cartridge like? What is it equivalent to?
It is equivalent to, heck, I don't know.
It's bullet diameter 277.
It is 277 bullet diameter. I've been shooting anywhere from 90 to 115 grain out of it. The 90 I get up close to 2,900 feet per second, somewhere in there.
And the cartridge you're actually loading that bullet in? .556?
No, it's not. It's fatter than a 5.56, and I don't have one to compare it to here. But it's
what's the parent cartridge then, sir?
That's a
30 Remington, I think.
That's a 6.8 SPC.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for that information. As far as my smoke goes, what I've been doing is, Mike, as I told you off the air, I'm preparing to take and go hog hunting, wild pig hunting, feral pigs, down in Arkansas. I'll be down there for a while. I'm not going to say anything about when, but that's pretty much what I've been doing this week is just little preparations, buying things like a headlamp. Like a headlamp for my hat when I'm down there. But I bought orange stuff, orange clothes. I got lucky. I bought some American Eagle ammunition. I got 2 weeks of it. Yay! All right. And these are 38 grain lead copper. You know what? I got robbed. This is a 400 box, not a 500 box. American Eagle is only putting 40 rounds per box. Robbery! But anyway, and
You bought it.
Yeah, I know. I didn't read it. Dummy me. But anyway, so the last thing I was doing this evening is I was working up some once fired 308 brass. Jason knows about how I procured that brass, but needless to say, I had some trouble with it. I stuck the cartridge case in the die 3 times tonight. I had to drill and tap the damn thing, get it out of there 3 different times. Finally, I decided the lubricant I'm using is not adequate. Even straight, it wasn't adequate. So I went to my bullet swaging lubricant, lanolin, pure medicinal grade lanolin. And now that worked, and it worked well. The only thing is, it's a bit messy. I'll have to wash that stuff off. But other than that, like I've said before on the air, I live by the Second Amendment. I live with my guns, stuff like that. It's, I think about it all the time. What did I do today in Guns and Reloading? I breathed.
Uh,
Jason, you're just bad, you dog.
okay. I got some information on the 6.8 SPC. It's a 6.8 by 43. It was developed by Remington Arms working with the U.S. Army Marksmanship Unit as a possibility to replace the 5.56 NATO in an SBR. It is based upon the 30 Remington, and it got all the. If you go to Wikipedia, it does have a listing on all of the specs. 115 grain, they're estimating at 2575. And 110 grain, they're looking at 2500. 120 grain. Oh, the 115 is an FMJ. The 110 grain is a Sierra Pro Hunter at 2500, and then the other one that they list is 120 grain SST for 2460.
Well, I'll say one thing: 110 and 2500 is going to leave a mark.
Yep, and that's a 16-inch barrel they fired it out of. So.
Wow. So that would work in actually 30 in an AR based on the 30 Remington cartridge, correct?
They make an 6.8 SPC upper for AR. It's a very common conversion. So
I see. Now that would actually require, if you were to do that, then that would require. Jason, do you have to change the bolt itself, not the bolt carrier, but the bolt itself? Do you have to change that?
Yes, you would.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you compare the two side by side, visually you can tell the 6.8 is a little fatter. Also, the overall brass length isn't much different. There's probably about 2 millimeters of difference, but the major difference between the two is where the shoulder is relative to the neck. The shoulder actually is set farther down the brass cartridge than or the brass casing than the 223 5.56 is.
That makes sense in a way, because it's my understanding that they like to have at least one caliber of brass holding the projectile. By that I'm saying, Jason mentioned is .277. They like to have 277 thousandths of brass holding on to the projectile, the way I understand it. The people that are actually designing the cartridges.
Yeah.
Yeah,
all right.
Affected me too.
Just one of those things, I guess. So I was looking to see if they have a dimensions. They list the case dimensions, but they don't give the neck length. They just give the neck diameter. So
I'm measuring one now, and I'm coming up with about .270. So I don't have my glasses on. It could easily be .277.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for corroborating what I said, Jason. Thank you, sir.
Oh, great. Give him a bigger head now, Jason.
Yay! At least this is better than the alternative, Mike, so shut up.
All right, so.
Oh, you know what, Mike? We got to have a shout-out.
Yes?
What was the gentleman's name that answered the question?
It was Mark Rinaldi. Had the correct answer for the question. The trivia question was, who was the author of the first edition of the ABCs of Reloading? And not only did he come up with the correct answer of Dean Grinnell, he also came up with a couple of other books of similar title. The original one was ABCs of Reloading National Rifle Association Technical Bulletin by Fred C. Ness. And then there was the ABCs of Reloading Rifle and Pistol Ammunition paperback, which was printed January 1st of 1962 by RCBS. So, yeah, he not only came up with the answer to the question, but he also came up with a couple of extra bonus answers. So kudos to Mark, and Jim will be sending that prize off to you shortly.
It's already on its way. Mark, kudos to you, man. You blew me out of the water. I did not know about the 2 other publications. Thank you, sir. I appreciate the education.
Good job,
And
Mark.
we've got an email question from Marcus Cochran. First off, I love the show. I've only recently started hand loading my own rounds, so I'm still pretty green when it comes to this, but I was wondering if it is possible to reload old Milsurp cases. It's old 7.62 by 54 rounds in a combination of copper washed and lacquered steel cases. I've been told by some that you can't reload it because of the burden primers, and some because of the steel cases. Any help you could give me would be greatly appreciated. Well, technically, and we emphasize technically, you can reload those. However, to reload steel cases, it does take a special set of dies. I did not have any luck finding any dies made by anybody for 7.62 by 54R for the steel cases. The reason they have to be made out of a special is they have to be a lot more durable and a lot more hardened than your standard dies would be, given the fact that you're trying to stretch steel, not brass. As far as the burden primed versus boxer primed, while Jim had showed a video, I'll put the link to it in the show notes. While it isn't impossible to reload burden primed, it is not very practical. To get the primers out, you wind up using a hydraulic setup. There's lots of different ones. I've heard of people using their own regular sizing dies for it on a brass case. I don't know if that would work or not, but what I've heard is they just take their regular sizing dies, they actually fill the case up with water, and then as they bring the press down with your decapping and sizing die, it builds up the hydraulic pressure from the water and pushes the primer out. I don't know if that works because for 2 reasons. One, I don't have any burden primed 308 laying around, and 2, I didn't talk to anybody that I know that has done this. So there's lots of YouTube videos out there. There's lots of custom presses that we've seen for doing that with. Like I said, yes, you can do it, but it's not very practical. So none of the 3 of us do it because there is usually a plethora of brass available out there for other things. That's readily available. I don't know about the 7.62 by 54R, but I would imagine, given the popularity of it, there's probably going to be some out there.
Now, the copper wash bullets is no problem at all.
Yeah.
They're actually Cooper nickel. That's copper nickel alloy. They work well if you find them. But as I told you this week, personally, I consider Berdan brass to be non-reloadable. I mean, that's just the way I've tried it and tried it and tried it. There's a tool where you can work like a can opener, and you can jam it in that primer, and then you pry it open like so. And it just it's not feasible, folks. Not on practical level, anyway.
Right. And the other problem is trying to find if you wanted to actually reuse the primers, to reuse the cases as they are, trying to find primers is pretty hard. The only use for them in the States is military ammunition, so it's not really something that's readily available. You can find them. They're kind of looks like they're kind of pricey. So, but yeah, you can get your hands on them. The other problem is then having to get the equipment to actually press those in because they do not go in the same, and they're not set up the same as a regular boxer primer. So, our recommendation is, while it's feasible to reload these, it's not very practical. You're better off putting your efforts into just sticking with, if it's something you want to do as a hobby, the stuff's out there. You can find it, and you can do it. But there's too many, with the burden primers, they're not as easy to use as the boxers. You can't just slap them in there, squeeze them in, and call it a day. There's a little more to them than that, especially lining up the 2 holes and all that. It's not, and trying to convert that brass or those cases over to using a boxer primer isn't very practical either, because then you're going to wind up drilling out some of the brass to actually make that primer hole, that 2 primer holes into 1, and you can sometimes weaken the case, and then that's not a good situation to be in. So, yes, the short answer is yes, you can do it. The long answer is we highly do not recommend doing it, just because of first off, the safety issue, because unless you can get the correct tools to do it, you're always trying to cobble something, and reloading ammunition is not something you want to be cobbling in any way, shape, or form.
Well said.
All right.
Well said.
So we do thank all the comments and everything we get. Once again, the email address is reloading@firearmsradio.tv. That's firearmsradio at firearms. Bleh. Anyway, rewind. That is reloading@firearmsradio.tv. Once again, reloading@firearmsradio.tv. Shut up.
Never.
Oh, just wait. Just wait till you screw up next time, bub.
When do I not?
Exactly.
Oh.
All right. So, basically what we planned for tonight, I'm going to do an actual complete unboxing of a Lee Loadout 2 in 20 gauge. I'm going to take it out of the box. It is still sealed. I was going to open it up and set it up first, but then I decided that wasn't a true unboxing. So yes, the staples are still intact. Jim, did you have something you wanted to talk about?
Just brace yourselves, folks. You're about to see a naked reloading press. Shotshell reloading press.
Keep in mind that's naked reloading presses, not naked reloading hosts. We want to make sure everybody knows there will be no naked hosts.
G-rated. Jason, you behave yourself over there, you bum.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, let me adjust my camera here so you guys can see what I'm doing and not looking at my ugly mug, because, yeah, that doesn't do us any good.
Camera, Mike, it's all right. Lock it on what you're doing if you want to. No problem at all.
All right. So usually when I'm opening boxes, I usually take the staples out because invariably I will cut myself on them. And so those of you who listen to the audio podcast, you're really going to have to take the time to watch the video podcast this week. It's Reloading Podcast on YouTube. So. So. Nice thing is, unlike some of your presses, this one comes out of the box pretty much set up and ready to go, as you can see. Set it back here so you can get the whole picture. Instead of like some of your mech presses and stuff where it's got the slap for the powder and the shot, this one's just got a lever here. This is how you operate it. It's got 5 positions, 5 positions on the bottom. We got a bunch of parts up on the top. 4 different things, including mounting the thing. So I will probably get a board and mount this to a board. Depending on how much room it needs and how much room it takes, I may actually just mount it right to my same board I've got my Mac 600 on. So here we've got load all charge tables.
Mike?
Yes.
The handle operates to the rear?
Yep.
Well, how nice, because this way you can see what you're doing.
I don't need to see what I'm doing. I'm blind anyway. So you got your destructions, including nice pictures. And so, note on here, before you start reloading, mount your lead load-alls to a sturdy bench or table with 3 screws supplied. So you've got 2 long screws and a short wood screw. There we go. And those go into 3 holes. One here, one here, one here, and then one here. And then this is what they've got for the powder and the shot bushings. There's different sizes on here. We got the different numbers. And what they give you to mount it, the longer screws, is actually these handy little beautiful things here. They actually just drill a center hole, and then you can usually just drive them straight into the wood, and then they lock into the wood. So, but we're not going to do that now, because like I said, I'm going to probably put that onto the... I haven't fully decided where I'm putting that yet, so I'm not going to mount it down tonight. And then what we're going to do is we've got our sizing die.
Now, what's that material?
Huh?
What is that material made from?
That is steel.
Okay.
So,
So you're going to reload 20 gauge?
Yep.
How very interesting.
Yes, indeed. I'm just looking at all the different things. So, there's 2 screws that hold the nameplate on, and this is how you change out the... I need a better flathead.
Shot and powder bushings?
Yep. I'll show you how that goes. Usually with these screws I'll use a ratchet, but that's not handy, so I'm just going to use a flathead that I do have handy. This is just basic operation tonight, gang. I'm actually going to do a video where I actually do loading once it's mounted and everything, so that way you can see. This slides out, and then you've got your holes here to put your bushings in. Usually when you get one of these, you want to actually open it so you can keep the bag handy, unless you've got a container to put it in, given the fact that otherwise you'll find them all over the place, and then when you need them, you won't find them.
Always.
Yep. Now, one of the other things that you can get for this is you can actually get, and I didn't order it, but they actually have an auto priming option that you can get for this. So, but how your bushings work is you just pick based on your chart, and what they've got on them is they've got numbers. So like these say 171, and then the other option is 1.5. So you're going to be able to tell which ones are for shot, which ones are for powder, because the shot is going to be the fractional, and then the powder is going to be the numbers. So that kind of is how that works. And then once you get that, you'll take this, you'll put it back in. And then that slides back and forth like that. You know, you're probably going to want to put this back on, because otherwise you're going to have that possibility of that falling out on you. But more than likely, unless you're doing a lot of different loads for a lot of different things, you're going to probably not be taking this apart a lot. Now the other thing is this does come in 12 gauge, 16 gauge, and 410. So you can actually order it in the 12, and then they've got conversions so you can convert it to the other calibers. I don't think that you can do it opposite way, where you can order it in the 20 and then go that way. I didn't see anything that indicated that was correct on the website, so. And then
I'm sorry, Mike, I'm interrupting.
What's
What's
that?
the MSRP on that Lee Lodo?
MSRP on it is, well, this one was off Amazon for $52.99. Cabela's and Bass Pro is usually $56 to $59.99. Depending on where you find it, it's the cheapest I've ever seen them, well, not ever, but the cheapest I've seen them in probably the last 6 months is somebody had a sale on it for $45.99. But otherwise, it's usually in that $50 to $60 range.
For that price, it would seem as though it might actually be more practical
to just buy a complete separate one for each gauge that you're going to do.
That's what I was thinking. But again, too, I'm sure the kit to change calibers and stuff like that would cost less than a new press, but just the practicality of it, that's all.
Yep. Let's find out quick.
What do you think, Jason?
Yeah, just for the ease for jumping back and forth, it'd be a lot more convenient just to have a separate press.
Yeah, especially considering they don't take up a lot of space.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with this, it still takes up less space than my Mech 600 does just sitting there. So, and everything I've seen and heard, these things work fabulous. They're a lot less problematic than some of the other, like the progressive presses that Lee has. They work a lot similarly to going with just their standard single stage presses. They're really easy to use, not real problematic at all. So what I'm doing now is I'm checking to see how much those would be.
Well, a good standard for all of us would be Midway USA, because everybody knows about Potterfield. But, there's no requirement, and
Oops, I didn't want that. I'll look up Midway too.
Yeah, a lot of folks use like Mid-South.
Yeah. Right now I'm going through our Amazon affiliate link. I'm checking Amazon.
That's right. Now, while Mike's browsing the web, folks, remember, on the Reloading Podcast page, there is an Amazon affiliate button. If you're going to order something like this shot shell press Mike's got up there, well, shot shell reloading equipment, let me say it that way, order through the Amazon button on the Reloading page. Give us a boost. We almost made a higher percentage of profit last month, a little bit extra today. Thank you, Mike. Go ahead. But we made a little bit of profit last month with the Amazon affiliate button, helping to pay for the bandwidth this podcast is consuming.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so here on Amazon, $51.99. It's Prime eligible, so that means you can get free shipping on it. They have the 12 and the 20, and then they have the 16. Give you a comparison, the Mech 600 Junior Mark V is $186.30, and that's only 12 gauge. So you could, for that same price, you could actually buy the 12, the 20, and the 410 Lee Lodahl presses. So, or 16 gauge, depending on, or you could buy the 12 and then the conversion kits. The conversion kit for the 20 gauge is $20.99, as everybody can see, and we're going to look and see it's all in that. So basically what it is, it's just the base plate, or it's just the, not the base plate, but the upper part that attaches to the shell holder, or to the shot stuff. Looks like it's just 2 screws, and that comes apart. We'll take a look at that in a second. So, all right, now we can check Brownells, who's also an affiliate link. Brownells and Sinclair is another affiliate link that we have, and we'll also check Midway USA here, just to give a comparison. And then one more that I want to show is Titan Reloading, who is actually the local distributor for Lee. They're actually about 5 minutes from the Lee factory, and that's who I get a lot of stuff from.
They're a direct affiliate of Lee Precision?
Yep.
Nice.
So they're the Midway is the same price as Amazon.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the conversion kits are $20.99 a piece. So yeah, if you're going to choose between Midway and Amazon, we ask you use Amazon and use the affiliate link to help out the podcast. But if you don't want to, that's understandable. We completely understand. Tighten reloading. Excuse me.
Lee Load All 2. There it is already.
All right, so here is Titan Reloading. Like I said, this is in Hartford. And so the 12 gauge is 51. The Noble, which is upgraded, I'm not sure exactly what the differences are on that, is 55. Otherwise, the other two are both 51.46. So it's even a couple cents cheaper than Amazon. But like we said, let's see what the difference is with the Noble.
Yeah, spend a dime. Support the podcast.
And it actually, for Australia and New Zealand. Okay. So that's what the Noble is. They
support the 24 and the 28 gauge.
The Noble must be for specific rules and regulations that they have down there. It looks like.
I see. Yep. Excuse me.
So, yeah, there is other options also that you can get for the Lee Load All 2. So here's the 16 gauge, the 20 gauge. I think to get the 410, you have to order it direct from Lee. Oops, I don't want that. Yeah, I didn't want that. Sorry about that.
We don't know who you are, Joe, but I bet you're a nice guy.
Joe was the gentleman that tried to stop those two cop killers out in Las Vegas. At the Walmart. He was the one that didn't know about the second one. The husband and wife team that went.
Right, and he's the one that got killed.
Yeah, he's the one that got killed.
Trying to save a cop. Anyway, continue, please.
All right, so now here we've got. Okay, so it looks. Oh, I take that back. It looks like there is not available in 410, 10, or 28. I think the original load all may have been in 410, so I take that back. It looks like it's just 12, 20, and 16. So now see if you buy it direct from Lee, and this is what Lee doesn't want. They don't want to sell the stuff themselves. That's why it's set at $75.98. They want it to buy. They want you to buy them through their vendors because that's less stuff for them. So.
Right, they'd rather make it and ship it out rather than trifle with selling it.
Right.
That's why their custom molds are so expensive.
Yeah. All right. Fine. Now there's our contact page. You can go to reloadingpodcast.com and you can leave a comment, concern, question on there if you want. You can send an email, or you can, if you listen to iTunes, you can leave a iTunes review. Let us know how good or bad we're doing.
We know what that'll be.
Yeah. So, and then at Brownells, it's $52.99. So, you know, it's $1 difference. It's not really much difference between the three. Brownells and Amazon and Sinclair, we have the affiliate links where we actually get, you know, help with the podcast. But while we've got this page up, a great thing is this right here. If you have Lee presses.
Oh, the bench plate kit. What is the bench plate itself made from?
It's steel.
Okay, and then you take those pieces of wood. They have a little bit of a relief underneath of it, where you can slide the press in and out.
Yeah. Actually, I'll show you. Let's stop sharing here. Get the webcam back up. Okay. So, earthquake. Just kidding. I'm in Wisconsin. I'm in Wisconsin for a reason. So.
Yeah, that's perfect. Oh, you had it. Okay.
Right there.
Mike, pull your camera downward a little bit. Your bottom third is actually interfering with an edge of the face.
There we go. Okay, so the way this works is it's actually got 4 screws. And you can mount this base plate to any sort of wood, you know, or steel if you really wanted to. But it's got 4 screws. And then you just loosen the screws, and this slides out. Excuse me. Like so. This is a metal. There's 2 options. There's a metal plate you can get. This one has little notches to keep it from sliding back out that actually latch onto this here. And then the wood ones, you actually put a hole, and then there's a lock bolt. If I can reach my other press. No, I can't. Hang on just a second. If you want to talk, I'll grab my single stage and show you what that one looks like.
Jason, you reload SHOT Show?
I don't.
Salvatore Sincomani has been after me for 2 years to take and start reloading.
All right, so this is the wood. This is upside down. You got your 3 mounts for your single stage press, and these come undrilled, but they have a stencil in there that allows you to be able to mark it out so you can drill it right. And then what these holes are for is these line up into 2 holes in the actual plate, and then you slide this in. Because these don't actually have a lock tab, that's what the holes are for, and you just throw your screws down in. They say you only have to use 1, but I'm cautious. I used to, because I know how much pressure I put on the ram.
Yeah.
So the setup takes a little bit of time, but as you can see, it doesn't take long to swap out a press.
That's an entirely different press now.
Yeah, that's my single stage. So that's my single stage. My multi-stage that I just had mounted, sitting over here on the stool.
Interesting.
Yep.
I see it.
And then I can just as easily swap them back.
Just with loosening 2 screws?
4 screws. There's 2 on each side.
Okay, excuse me.
4 screws, the 2 locks. And I'd imagine you could use these for other... See, here's the bottom of the steel plate. Bottom of the steel plate has all different lineups for all the different presses that Lee makes. You've got a lineup for the single stage. You've got a line for the turrets. This is the Loadmaster. You've got one for the Load 1000s too. The metal ones are a little nicer because they lock in without the use of the bolts. So.
I tell you what, with a cordless drill or something like that, you could change presses inside of 60 seconds.
You don't even need a cordless. Because I just swatched those out in just less than 60 seconds. And then what I usually do is I'll just take my bolts and put them on there so that way I know where they are. But yeah, you don't really need anything fancy. So.
That's pretty slick.
Yeah, it's very nice. It's probably one of the nicest things I've seen in reloading in a while.
Quite agree.
So, and like I said, I'd imagine, I don't have any other brand presses, but I would imagine, especially with the wood ones, that you would not have a problem adapting it to other presses.
My 2 presses are bolted permanently.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing is, this is more for somebody that doesn't have a lot of bench space. You know, I'll show you, I'll do a zip around with my bench and show you just how much space I have. So, right behind the tumbler, you can see that's shelving. So my bench space is only about that big. Than the beer fridge. So, there's not a lot of space to work with here. So, I don't have the room. I don't have the space to bolt down 3 or 4 presses or even 2. So that's why that was so awesome to see.
Interesting.
Take out that beer fridge, you'd have room for another press.
Nah, because there's a freezer. There's a freezer next to it, so it wouldn't be workable. Gotta have the beer fridge.
Beer or reloading? Which is more important, beer or reloading?
Same time. Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding.
You on that?
We do not recommend consuming alcoholic beverages while reloading. That is how people get dead. Before I get hate mail on that.
I'm only kidding, folks. But it's like,
yeah,
it's the choice you have to make: beer or reloading. Beer or reloading. Which is never mind.
Yeah. And to answer one other question on this, that probably somebody's going to ask, is and something I'm going to have to order is that primer feeder, because that looks like that would come in handy, especially considering I don't have a way to prime them at the current moment.
Somebody by the name of Nick Orr is watching us. Or is that you, Mike?
Nope.
Then there's, Nick as a nickname, R, and Nick as in that's Jason. Okay, that's fine. They're allowed to. That's why we put this podcast out. Just for folks to watch. But anyway, yeah, that's a sweet little machine you got there, Michael.
Amazon doesn't have it.
So speaking of priming, how do you prime shotgun shells?
The same way you prime a...
Okay.
Well, the shotgun primer is considerably larger. But isn't it a large rifle or a large shotgun or large pistol primer pressed into a larger cup?
No. It's a completely separate. It's a 209 primer. Anybody who shoots inline muzzleloaders is familiar with them. It's the same primer they use.
You went squarely on me, Mike. Slow down. Lost your audio, buddy. Jason, say something, please.
I can hear you just fine, Jim.
Same here. I can hear you just fine, friend.
Yeah, while we're waiting on him, is there like a hand priming tool, Jim, like we use for the shotgun shell? Do you know?
No, to be honest with you, I can't answer you yes or no, Jason. I simply don't know. I would think probably not, but that's because of the height of the shotgun primer.
shotgun primers aren't really that much. They're a little taller. Looking to see if there is.
You're back, Mike.
Yep, I switched to microphones. The one on the headset went dead, so I'm using a different one. I'm not sure why it went dead, but whatever.
The only thing is you're a little bit digital, that's all. It was poorly.
Yeah, I'm using the microphone that's on my webcam, so it's kind of a different. So.
But it's good. It's a sensitive microphone, I'll tell you that, because I can hear your mouse clicking.
Yeah, it picks up better. So. All right. So I didn't have any luck finding it on Amazon. I didn't have any luck finding it on Brownells, so I'm going to check Titan Reloading and then check away. It looks like it's probably
about shot shell primers.
I don't know. I do not know if there is a hand primer for it because most of it's always done on the press.
Okay, that's fair.
So, what I wind up doing with this is I just wind up hand feeding the primers in. Is what I wind up doing. So.
No primer magazine or anything like that?
What's that?
No primer magazine / reservoir or anything like that?
There's one that comes that you can order. I'm just trying to see if anybody carries it or if I got to get it directly from
Lee Precision.
Right. Right now I am on Titan Reloading here, which is actually where I got that bench set up from. So the bench mount, which is actually really nice. The hardwood blocks, if you want to order extra ones, are $11.18. The steel base blocks are $11.20. And then I don't know how much the actual. Oh, the bench plate setup is $22.46 from Titan Reloading right now. So, and it comes with 1 steel and 2 wood blocks, plus the steel base plate. So for $22.46, you've got 2 wood, 1 steel. So that's 3 presses you can mount theoretically, on the quick change, if you wanted to. So that's a pretty good deal there. And now we're going to check Midway USA to see if they carry this thing. Now let's just do this. Let's just check Google.
Oh.
We're crying out loud.
If you don't mind while you're doing that, I'm going to take in, I guess, probably should just stick around. I was going to take in, go into Google Hangouts and bring up some of the stuff that we were discussing about content for the podcast this week.
Yeah.
Or do you already have it up?
I got it up on Midway.
Okay.
So, whoa. No, blue screen. Blue screen. Okay. So here is Midway USA. Oh, it's been discontinued. Yeah. Interesting. I wonder. Oh, that's why. It's not an automatic primer feeder, so you got to set it in each time. So it's just like any other manual press, where you got to set this. So that you just are able to tip it up. The primer feeder.
Okay.
Optics Planet carries it too, so let's see what Optics Planet says. Oh. Okay, so it says that one's no longer available either. So I'm wondering if Lee's going to replace that or so. You were going to talk about the Hangouts, so if you want to go ahead and do that.
Okay, well, I was going to talk about it. I was actually going to open the screen up to the Hangouts and make sure that we covered everything in the Hangouts, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Because seems to me like it was the point we did discuss. That's where that 40-second video came from. All I did was just decapping Berdan brass, and I used hydraulic as well, and it was like crazy, man. Okay, Hangouts. Well, we gotta wait for it to show up.
Well, we've got a couple of you who put in questions or comments in the question and answer section. First one is Joe Agarella. He says, get the one that has the steel mount plate, better performance. So he says don't use the wood. And then the second one, Mike Johnson wanted to know if there was a link to join in to the to the actual Hangout. You can watch, but at current we only have just we don't open it up for regular people to hop in on a regular basis. If that's something you'd like to join us on the podcast, then what you need to do is get a hold of Jim or myself or Jason earlier in the week and let us know, and then we can talk to you and see about the feasibility of that. But it's not something that we just kind of have an open hangout where everybody can jump in and out.
I agree.
Okay.
I'm still looking at my Hangouts, but the bandwidth is so slow tonight. But I'm still trying to bring up my Hangouts comments that we had. Sun is shadowing your face, Jason.
I got the video up, so
I like it that way. Now I've lost my mouse. That's how slow this thing is going.
How did you lose your mouse? Isn't it in your hand?
Oh, not the body. I'm talking about the pointer.
Okay, so here's the video of the gentleman using the Hydra.
That container is filled with water, folks.
Just a quick little shot. And as you can see the water dripping out the bottom, the primer's out.
Yep. You can actually see the anvil in there. You also, if you listen to the guy on the video, you can actually hear him doing some commentary. He's got a European accent.
Yeah, he sounded British. And, you know, you check YouTube, there's
the link right there.
Bromley Armaments Hydraulic Burden Decapper.
Decapping 303 and 7.62 military cases. Something's not right. We're having trouble connecting to Google. We'll keep trying.
Oh, that's always nice. Ooh.
It's interesting. I'm on the Google Plus page for the Reloading podcast. It's sitting there live. Your video feed going out. I can actually see the Yahoo screen you've got up on the Google Plus page.
So that's actually, that setup he just used in that video is actually press that they make and they sell. It's $175 plus postage. It looks like they're in New Zealand, though. So shipping on that would be a little expensive. Like we said, you can find the tools out there for them, folks, but it can get pretty pricey. So as we were saying, you know, if you really want to do that, you could go ahead and do it. But, yeah, pretty pricey, $175 for the press.
One nice thing about his setup you know the flash holes are clear.
Yeah.
You know, those flash holes, they're tiny. We drill small holes in the glass bottle industry, but I tell you what, our holes are large compared to some of the holes they have in those primers.
Yeah. What I will do is I will check with Lee this week and see if they're planning on replacing that primer feeder for the Lee Lodals, or if it's just not very practical to be using that. So, and that's why they discontinued it. But what the overall design is, it looks like it's just a primer feeder that goes into here, and then it just drops the primer in. So it's just something you can do by your hand. You just put your primer in there, and it'll seat that way. So, but that would be the Lee Lodal 2 for shotgun shells. And like I said, I'll make it has a 2-year full warranty on it, like most of their presses do. And like I said, I will make a video on its full operation. And then I'll put that up on YouTube and post a link on the Google Plus and the Facebook pages, and I'll post a link in the Reloading Room also.
Sounds good.
All right, guys. Anything else?
I can't. Can you bring up the Google Hangouts?
Yeah, I've got it up. Doesn't look like we really had any other topics we were going to talk about.
Now, what we're talking about is the offline messages we had. Well, not offline, but Hangouts messages between the three of us. Half of it's harassment, but the other half is actually we were trying to take in just to come up with an idea as to what to discuss this evening. And Mike had said something about his unveiling of his new shot shell reloading equipment. You notice the distinction between the press and the shot shell reloading equipment.
Yeah. I think it's still considered a press, though.
I wouldn't argue with that.
But yeah, it's not a press in the traditional because it usually doesn't. There isn't as much force applied. So, and I think that's what Jim was pointing at. So. Well, folks, Jason, unless you got anything else to talk about, I'd say that's pretty much it for tonight.
I can't think anything off the top of my head.
All right. Well, once again, we thank everybody for tuning in. Any comments, questions, concerns, you can either go to the reloadingpodcast.com and click on the click on the contact link and then fill out your information there. You can send us an email at reloading@firearmsradio.tv. You can hit us up on the Reloading Podcast on Facebook or Google+. You can hit us up in the Reloading Room. Just tag Reloading Podcast, and then we'll find it that way too. Or just you need some general knowledge, pop in the Reloading Room and post a question. You'll get an answer really quick, and it's always good quality. It's we have a no trolls. Jim has worked very hard to have a no troll zone in the Reloading Room, so there really isn't any. You're not going to get any backlash or any issues or any people complaining or saying that's a stupid question or anything like that. So it's a great place to go ask questions, filled with lots of knowledge.
That's the way I set it up, and it's the way I intend to keep it. That's the way us, the acting admins we have in that channel, that's the way we want it. And that's the way it's going to be.
Indeed, it's an awesome place, awesome resource.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate the compliment. Jason does too, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, on that note, folks, we'll let you all go. Thank you for tuning in and listening for another week or watching for another week, and have a great night.
Good night,
Take
everyone.
care, folks.